Hey, good morning. This is the Voice of the Racial Nation, a program from the Racial Authority. We're about here again this morning, July 10th, 2026, on the next emission of this our weekly program. We're glad to be back here. We send greetings out there to our people, listeners on radio and on the social media. Today, before we enter into our topic, we want to extend greetings of condolence to families here in this territory, the archipelago of San Andres, Providence, and Catalina. Um, Forgive me if I fail to mention some we know of the pass away of our friend and brother Cesar Alberto Palacios Santos, a well-known leader, entrepreneurs, resourcer in this island of San Andres. Eh, Unfortunately, it passed away, and they have an announcement that for tomorrow in the city of Bogota, July 11th at 5 p.m., they will have a service there. The address that we share here on the screen, Parroquia Santa Monica. As well, I have to share here also the pass away of my aunt in Victoria McNish Garden on pass away on the 7th of July. Tomorrow, July 11th, it will be a funeral service at 3 p.m. at the Limbalanco Baptist Church here in San Andres Island. We extend a condolence to all the families then here passing through a moment like this. We beg for the comfort and the strength that they need in this moment. Today, we want to continue on a topic. Last week we was dealing around. We talk about civil disobedience. We talk about comfort zone that we live into. We explain deeply the concept of civil disobedience of a way you can say to be assuming your duty to live in society, in a city, in a country, on a social um, gathering of people. It is valid, is a way of resistance against unjusticeness or unjust laws and so forth, and government and people in power. No? It's a non-violence way of manifesting your displeasement toward things. Precisely in these days, they're talking about that in Colombia after the election day for president. We mentioned it and we deal with it last week, not necessarily to be in accordance with what they're talking about in Colombia, but it's something that coincides with our series of program and the plan that we have to get over message to our people in this program, the Voice of the Racial Nation, where we keep pushing for our rights in the island. So, along with civil disobedience, there are also other proactive ways to be participating in the life of a city, of a country. And we want to deal with that topic of ways to participate. If you live in a country, if you live in a city, you don't live in another planet you alone, but you have to live and coexist with others. We have to learn to build system of governance, of living together. And in this modern world, with hundreds, nearly 200 countries that exist today in this planet Earth, all have to decide on a system to live together. Majority, nearly all, live in a system in quotation mark, I say in quotation mark, of a democratic system. Nearly all, majority of the countries, them, including this country in which we are into right now, Colombia, are under one of those democratic systems. And for decades and all this time, it is professed and it is said that they were in a democratic. But the point here is that we have to learn really what is democracy if we decide to live under a system and talk it out good, because on the last experience and things that are happening right now, both nationally in Colombia and locally on the island, we are having some questionable situation of how much we know about democracy and how real is democracy in these places that we live into. It can be a simple theory, but when you bring it down to practice, it's so hard sometimes to make it practical through manipulations and different uh, corrupted behaviors that hinder to see in its plenitude real democracy. And that's what we want to deal about this morning: democratic governance, local democratic governance. We'll mention also at national level, local democratic governance. How we insert from the civil society, from be a simple citizen, a person, how we insert into the system of governance, how we participate, which are the ways to participate. It is limited those to go and vote, and there are duty end or our rights end, those to go and say we participate in an act of democracy to be electing people to look over and administrate our goods, because the goods is collective, is our goods, is our territories, our things, resources, etc. Our participation go those to say we vote and then we transfer the power that the people have to an individual, and that individual take care and understand exactly what we want, because he's an appointed person to manage our territory, not a king, not a, not a king to rule in a dictator full way. How we understand democracy, how we participate, how the democracy is really set up. Are we really exercising democracy and governance, democratic governance, as the power of the mass, of the sovereign people in a place, in a territory? That's what we want to talk about, and we will start in a special program, additionally to this one on Friday morning, those to treat on that topic about democratic governance. We will deal with everything around this democratic governance, how we exercise a responsible act as a citizen, responsible act. We have to be responsible if we live in society. We cannot continue abstaining ourselves from participating. That is living a life where we push our head in a hole, in a cage, and avoid and accept and deal with whatever is happening to us as a society. We cannot leave the power to others or to a person, those after go there and vote. How we guarantee that responsible democracy? How that is done? Well, the system already, and the democratic system design ways for the interaction of the civil society into the government, right? By different ways of representation. It's not only the representation from the governor, through the governor or through the major, that the civil society, the community participate in the management of its territory, as its collective territory of it. But they have also other space of participation where you can govern. If you analyze, for example, I want to show you something. Let's take, for example, an office like the Ocre, an office like Coralina, a section of the government like the Secretary of Culture or the Planning Office, etc. If you notice, there are spaces there constructed for the people to interact additionally with the governance of the territory. For example, in Coralina, there are seat there for the racial people. This is just an example, okay? You have seats inside the board of Coralina that they call the Consejo Directivo de Coralina. This Consejo Directivo have a power. In the fact truth is them do things and exercise the power from even appoint the director of Coralina and deal with the plans of the year and policies and the approval of uh, things around the budget of the office. So they have power. I don't remember exactly how much members. I think it's more than 12 members from the board of Coralina. Again, this is just an example. We want to do the example with the Ocre, another instance of participation in the government. There in those space, you have people representing the the racial people, no? It's members of the racial people. You have a seat for the president in the directive board of Carolina. You have a seat for the minister of environment. You have a seat there is the governor as well, the major. In the governation, you have the secretary of planning also form part of that uh, directive board or board of directors of Coralina, the Secretary of Agriculture. Those are from the government, those first that I mentioned, but you have also from the civil society, as I mentioned, from the representative of the racial people, two from San Andres, one from Providence, one of the representative of the racial people from Providence, and two from San Andres. You have representative from the environmental organization and so on. You have an office like, I think, in Bemar, Dimar, and so forth. So this is just an illustration to show you ways how the people can interact with that, having a voice there coming from the people in the governance of the place, of this place, over the natural resources and the environment. These people, it is a democratic representation. All the whole thousand of people can there sitting, so you delegate. You appoint someone to carry the voice of the people and the concern of the people to defend the rights and look over the welfare. That's the setup of democracy. But we haven't learned to live really democracy. We are badly behind time, and this task is around that issue to see if we become more responsible in a democratic governance of a territory. So when you appoint representative there, for example, does this example in Coralina, what you expect, what's the real reach of power and participation there with that those representatives in there in the board? We keep complaining around the many issues them that the island suffering, we suffering as a people in environment, for example, with this example that we are giving, garbage, the chaotical situation um, of the island, the contamination, the dirty water from the sewage system running over the roads, the garbage dumped behind there on the west part of the island that growing and growing and contaminating both the soil, the underground water, the surrounding, all these things we complain. And we call on the responsibility, and we must call on the responsibility of those in the office to look over the place. The office cell, the full office as Coralina, starting from whoever leading it, the office of the governation, and all who have to do with it. But also, we are highlighting here this morning some other representatives that have voices there and is a channel of participation of the people in 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 the democratic governance. Okay, so we have to overcome the stagnation point that you are into because we are not exercising real democracy. We want to hit our chests and bluff that we are a democratic state and we have a democratic life, but we have to improve. We have to improve more, assuming the rules then to make it really democratic and effective. Is that so? This that we are promoting in the new program that we are going to have about democratic governance, local democratic governance, we bring in to the scene, we given the opportunity of the representative of the people in all the different offices them to can participate with us over this program to share the situation of the office where they are there sitting representing, participating, representing the people. They can share over the program that's what is happening and they can listen from the people the concern of the people. Because usually after you get appointed in those positions, you might remain there 2 or 3 years or 4 years. And usually we have a not an effective way to interact with the people. The people want to keep saying things, not only when they're asking for them to vote for them, but after they get appointed and elected, the people want to have a communication back and forth. So the expectation that we have with the program to give space to these representative of the people of the civil society is to improve democracy. Is to improve. It's not a program to attack, to merely simple stuck there in criticism, but to be constructive and be more effective. That's the purpose of this new program that we're starting by the Raisal Development Center, a program around local democratic governance. That's the intention. So you make it clear. And we give the example there with the Ocre, with the Coralina. And the same thing, you got many offices, and many of the people out there in the community and the civil society don't even know the representation and the reach they have to give advice through their representative to those offices, to Coralina, to Ocre, to the planning system in the archipelago, to the cultural system in the archipelago, and so forth. So we want to work with this program to, as a community, as a society, united, and more mature, push toward a better democratic governance as we have civilized dialogue amongst ourselves to go back and forth, talking and carrying message to our representative and our representative reaching back to the people. I hope that is clear, is needed. We need to improve on democracy if we want to live democracy. We need to improve on our capacity of governance, the skill and the capacity of people and of individuals, of leadership to govern over a territory need to be on constant betterment. If things is not working good, it's because uh, you have some problems and you have some cars, and we have to approach them in a very nice and civilized way. And we feel that many of the time is those lack of organization. We are not having a proper organization as a people. We have a tendency to be very individualistic. We have a tendency to be very selfish. We have a tendency as human being and sometimes culturally to those isolate ourselves, and that make it difficult to live and have a good place to live, because you feel like the other things them business with them. You feel like other one do business with you and things like that, but we're living on a territory which is collective, which is owned by all of us, and we are a human being of relations. We are so tightly related and connected in different way. So any intent of isolating ourselves and keeping ourselves apart become a cancer, become a sickness of the society, of the system, democratic system or whatever, because it's going contrary to the spirit and the normal way to have a real united people living in a common place together and striving for betterment together. All those defects and those cancer of selfishness, of individualism need to break out. We have to build spaces where we develop that system that we decide to live on, and which we say is a democratic system, where we appoint people to look over the things, then look over the place. So that's the spirit of the program, and we have a lot of expectation around it. We won't do in this program alone. We will have the support of organization from outside, uh, who are working along with us in this path toward a more legitimate and responsible local democratic governance. We'll have organization from outside, foreign also, that will accompany us. Because this affair around democracy is a concern worldwide, for other government and other international organizations are pushing and are supporting a lot for people to develop themselves under democracy. How democratic is Colombia? How democratic is Venezuela? How democratic is let's name the country then Panama, them near right side of us. How democratic is Nicaragua? How democratic is Jamaica? How democratic is the United States? All these that are mentioned and the long list are considered democratic system. All of them are having their problems. All of them they're having their goods and their bad moments. Some are more advanced, and some we look from them from far and think that those are the excellent and the ideal system and everything is fine. And many times we feel, don't imagine how far many places that we consider highly democratic are far from being democratic. The same cancer and corruption eh, that we see here, it expressed in many, in all the nearly all the countries them, in smaller or more or higher or less level. So the country them and the people them are called to learn and to dedicate time and effort and energy to build a real democracy if we want to have democratic system. If we don't do that, you don't expect that it want to happen those automatically. You hear voices condemning other system of governance. They condemn, you hear some don't like socialism, so they condemn socialism. They stigmatize anybody that believe in socialism. You hear some that you mention and you talk about communism, you condemn communism. We talk and we explain in the programs about that um, those players, each one have this the desire and the will of the people to establish a certain system of governance. We all have to respect their decision, if it's a if it's a decision of all. But then now we have to, if we choose a system, we have to develop that system. We have to spend time to develop that system and character because we can remain eternally in a stocking point, in a stagnation point where a few, a local handful, are reaping the benefit of the so-called democratic system. And the vast majority, 99%, are those spectators and element used to enriching a majority. And the quality of life is thus dear to the ground for the majority, not improving, not no development. Those are empty discourse of promising and promising and promising, and the people live in that and stay back like spectators. Those merely spectators looking at how the things is work. So this is a call and a process. This process that we starting here on the program around democratic governance, we have it a project. We want to keep it up the program for 1 year and a half initially. It can go far more. We need to talk about these things. We need to put on the table about these things. We haven't been doing it for decades and all this time. We just sit back and expect say everybody know what is democracy and how you participate in democracy and who we elect know what is democracy when they are not come back and doing things like reporting the right way, having a transparency in their act, giving way for the people to participate really. So the system is not effective. What we claim and say we are living democracy is not effective. We have plenty problem and we are not treating it. We wait and we sit back when the only election time come. We rush out and we exercise that. I don't know what to call that. And then they go back to sleep. We're not building a democratic governance on the territory. Absolutely at all. Absolutely. We are not behaving as we claim to be a civilized society. We're not. Everybody have a role to play if you are part of the territory. All the different sections, churches, pastors, spiritual leaders, civil leaders or servant, social leaders or servant. Every single soul have a role. You cannot push your head in a hole and figure you are something else apart and you don't business. We are a human being of relations. Everybody have to come to this program and we have to deal around this and accept your role. Your role are not limited if you're a church, those to the single soul. A human being are not built that kind of way, isolated soul from body and relation. No, we are a holistic and integral being. You cannot separate apart. You will be failing to ignore the other part of the human being. No, you will say, no, but the other part is not my competence. There is a next one to look over the next part, the material, the physical, the natural. No, it don't work so. It don't work so. We have to learn to look on the person as a holistic being and see the connections and care for others. Show care for the other part. And don't figure and brush off your hand and figure say that part is not your competency, your competence, and someone should take care of it. Let's learn to talk and build democracy, especially many religious leaders that condemn other system of governance in the world, socialism, whatever you want to call it. If you want and you agree on a democratic system, I agree on it too. Well, let's learn to what is democracy. Let's talk about it. Don't say so, those to say so like because other one said. Let's learn to develop democracy from all the different aspects of the society. Let's learn, and you will see the system start to change because you will have citizens, you will have people with a more a knowledgeable understanding of how the system work and the government work, they won't be indifferent to it. Anytime this go on the table to start talk on it, those intimacy of democracy, things have to be changed. You want to build a society more educated, people that are reaping the riches of the land, and in politics and politicians, they are enjoying that moments because of the ignorance of majority of the people. I include myself. When you talk about ignorance, please don't offend yourself out there. Ignorance is the lack of information. You can be a PhD that go through any amount of studies at university study, and still you can be ignorant to certain issues. Totally ignorant to certain issues. I deal with people with high level, those educational level, PhD and so. And when we deal on certain topic, they are totally ignorant to that topic. No, I'm not telling you so they are idiot, fool. Ignorant means the lack of information, the lack of knowledge over something. We have to build a society very knowledgeable. We have to build political knowledge so we can have critical thinkers to decide in democracy and to participate in democracy. If we continue to live in a society doomed into the ignorance of what is democracy, or what is rights, or what is duty, or what don't expect any betterment of the territory, then we exploit we, and then we fool we with foolish discourse and promises that carry us nowhere. Years after years, and you can see the result. You can see the result. So we have the person don't have to step into a school to be well knowledgeable of politics and democracy and governance. That is something that we can talk as a people over these spaces like what we have here, and build people very deeply knowledgeable of this thing to transform. The transformation when come whenever we lose away the mental colonization that we are into. We have to decolonize our mind and our heart. But Marley take this phrase, that's his. People figure says but Marley phrase when he say emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Nobody but ourselves can do that. That is a phrase that coming far back from our leader, Marcus Garvey. Emancipate yourself. Mental emancipation. We have to educate ourselves. We have to talk on this openly. The churches actually are receiving plenty attack. The pastors them are receiving plenty attack. I want to call out there to all of us. Let's do whatever we have to do on this dialogue around living as a society and the responsibility and so of each one. Let's do it in a respectful way. All of us have fault. We are not assuming the role really in a democratic system the right way. If we have something to say to one of the parts them and the system, call it pastor, call it leader, let's do it in a way where we construct, because we hadn't been talking about what the democracy. Plenty of the leaders are totally ignorant about history, about certain issues, because we don't talk it. We don't get the knowledge in the school. They don't teach that. In majority of universities, no, you go there and full up your head with some specific information about specific things. But these things around real democracy and history and the understanding of a system of governance, we have to deal with it in our daily. So with this new program that we are going to start, and for 1 year and a half initially, after the year and a half, our expectation from the Rights Development Center on our part is to see a more critical thinker society. A set of people where you won't feel them and push your hand in the mouth so easily again. They will understand more better. Every single soul we expect to be part of this process and learn from this process. We are to decolonize mentally and um, physically our life and our territory. Permit me to have a small little break here with to put on a music while we come back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back again. Um, so yes, as we keep saying here, sorry, sorry. Yes, so we are inviting you, and we are announcing here our next program, weekly program that we will be having around governance, democratic governance. Let's really talk about what is democracy. Let's go for a legitimate and responsible democratic governance. Let's just learn. Let's make the people, all the people, everybody get to dominate this thing and participate really actively and not as spectators. Not as spectators. Everybody assume their role, everybody assume their duty. Let's boots up and massify the participation of the people in this governance of the territory. Don't We will see a change. That's our goal, our expectation. We will see a change after a time. A people more involved and concerned to exercise their power. And after exercise the power not only by vote, but by the constant following up and participation in the life of the territory. If not, we want to leave the people out there to continue scrap and carrying us poorer and poorer and poorer. It have to be a massive move of the people to take over the and assuming their power and the participation in the life. I know I'm not going to tell you say it's easy, but it's possible and it can become easy if we get this to be done massively of all of us participating. And not one and two and a handful of people have to go through look over the whole management of the territory of the government, being vigilant, and when you have to demand, you're demanding and you're running lawsuit. Let's make this all the people, the civil society, the community, the members of it become more knowledgeable, critical thinkers, and participate in this system of democratic governance. Let's learn what is democracy. We have some program coming along treating about this affair of democracy. We talk and we explain how we have to be respectful of everybody a decision. We only hope that the people take a decision freely and well informed, freely from pressures, from manipulation, from lies, etc. And that's our part. We will hear and always spending of the lies them and the manipulation, and we will going against that and explaining the people them and showing them better with to understand in moments where we see them they are being manipulated and those lie. We won't intend to influence and contradict ourselves by the impose upon you or anyone to support or stand for certain things in the democratic setup. You are free to choose, but we only want to seek that you have the proper information, that you understand the things, and okay, and make the democracy flow, make democracy run. But real democracy, not manipulated, not by lies, not by uh, pressures or anything like that. That's what we're going after. Make everybody does freely choose and participate. That's part of the expectation of this new program we're starting, and we'll bring to the scene many people for us to sit down and talk, communication back and forth, hearing the opinion of others and understanding how democracy works and how to improve democracy. After this election recently, both nationally for election for president and locally election for governor. It proved to us that we need plenty tax, plenty political education. It's lacking badly. We want to dedicate to that. We want to promote the respect by each one decision, but we want to provide certain information that we consider is necessary for them to take better decision. Information that is not manipulated or lies. These last two elections shows many things. I was saying a while something special that touched me. I start to explain it before the break, which is the attack that coming toward the churches and pastors, spiritual leaders. They will have a space here so also. We call upon our people again. Let's do it in a respectful way. Let's do it in a constructive way, not to destroy. Because we are not skillful really in democratic governance. We have plenty to learn. We have plenty to learn. So let's do that in a respectful way. I personally was dealing with some of the spiritual leaders, and I'm near to them. And believe me, with much of them, it's not that I'm not defending and sharing something that I believe I can share to you all out there. Historically, the last years, them in on these four islands, we had come to mold a system, a religious system. We have come to mold churches that have a more strength on the care of spiritual uh, issues, the spiritual life, and that is fine, excellent. Is totally. I respectfully believe. All we have to say is that my big, we have to just start to work on this invitation, and I know plenty agree on that to develop other strength in the churches them around the other needs of the people. You know, it was that in the years them we didn't concentrate most on it, but it's not something badly done or intentionally done to say ignoring it. Does something you have a basketball team, a baseball team, and you develop a special skill in certain area, and you feel in certain area you don't have and that is you know is a constant evolution and life involving. So if you see where you are weak in certain thing and you believe you need to dedicate some more effort, you do it. And that's what I sure many agree, and they are on that, and they will better those aspects. And we have to those be very respectful and do the things together in a constructive way. Those guys, hey, we are feeling here. I believe we have to do better here. We have to dedicate some more effort in this, and fine. And we have to dedicate not more effort on the material part also, apart from the spiritual, the physical needs and so forth. We have to dedicate much time, again, we say, in this education around political education is part of the life. We are not exempt from the political life. None of us, as a society, as a civil society, we are not exempt. We are called to be participating in it actively. So um, we call in also that they come into this dialogue and make we improve with capacity and this system of democracy, democratic governance, and have a better society there tomorrow. That's the invitation. That's the invitation and the announcement for the program to come. These are structural changes that we need on in this territory. We can spend time talking about out in fire here, out in fire here, out in fire there, and it's fine. We have to continue out the fire and that come out. But we have to transform our life from the root, from the bottom, structurally. And this that we are talking about might be also something that you was expecting today that we talk about, and you see might be why talking about this and why don't talk about then thief the bank last week, then kill this one last week. Those are expression indeed very urgent, very important too. But as we talk about, we are reacting in a system, a mess up system. So we are proposing here for structural change and the transformation of the society coming from a better, knowledgeable people on democracy, on participating in democracy and being active. And that's the way how we'll transform the life of the island, where everybody become active and participating. So that's the invitation. We are program going today, those till 9. We apologize. We will go till 9:30 today. Uh, and next week again, we will continue with this topic. We will announce to you what day we hopefully from this week coming, we will start this new program. We are thinking to do it on 2 days of the week, Tuesday and Thursday, from 8 to 9:30. Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 9:30. We won't have the space on the radio, but we'll be out there on live on our social media, YouTube, Facebook, X. Okay, we'll be treating this, and those programs will be record, and you have it available for you to go and look on them over and over the one in our channel. So with this, want to give you thanks to listen to us today, and we will be back again next week in our next program of the Vice of the Rice Nation. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a good.
Rise and people, it's time for the uprising. Let us rise and shine.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when you feel like giving up, as you try to bother him,
when you feel like smiling, but your heart feels so trill, yeah. Don't give up, rest if you will, but keep your unbroken will, yeah.
like the sun, the moon, and the stars in the sky. Again and again, lift your head high. So please, don't you cry. God, He will satisfy.
Once again, me say rise, I shall rise. When no have time to cry, everything will be fine. Waffy, stand strong, it's time to move on. Where I go reach to the stars, to the moon, to the sun.
This is something me want to know fi understand. Rise and people give thanks to the Almighty One. Cause all of the grown are singing song. Rise and shine, so shall sing in a this a song.
Rise and shall rise.
When there is light, there will be hope.
Rise and shall rise.
Hope and no joy, that is for sure.
Rise and shall rise.
Standing up strong, I reach for your goal.
Rise and shall rise.
Let us all unite with one heart and soul.
One day our hearts will no more be hurt.
surely work.
The day we come together and stand up with determination, then rise our nation will shout out for liberation. To take back the territory. Cause this land that we fight to free our being. Free the chains and bandage of colony.
Far away from home, but still worry about their own. Make it straight to the decolonize. Therefore, it had to run.
Waiting for its diaspora through the island in the sun. Rise and shine out the rise and all ye daughters and sons, yeah.
And again, it will be nice. Do not yourself minimize. Sense of belonging must be sky high. Stand up, sunrise now, where the sun of the sky.
Leave behind nights after row and fear. Just remember joy come when the morning clear. Pray Jaja and put your hand up in the air. In Jaja hand everything gone clear.
Wake up and live, rise and we soon clear the hill.